All right, guys. Well, just starting the show. It is what time is it? 11:11. Ooh, look at that. That's a lucky time. 11:11 on June 22nd, 2023. Almost forgot the year. My name is Brian. Hi, guys. Welcome to the almost show. Once again, for this week, what we're doing is I'm just testing equipment. We're running through some stuff because I'm going to be going live starting next Monday with a show, if you will. And we'll start that on Monday. But right now, I just figured we'd get reacquainted. I'll get used to coming back on and talking to you guys. And it's going to be a little weird for me. I was talking to a few people last night online. It's going to be a little weird for me. I'm so used to being on a team. Like when I do a show, it's always been like, John and myself. And then I was on another show called the Dr. K Show. And there were three of us on that one. Before that, I was on Cluster F Radio. Phenomenal. I missed that show. That was a phenomenal show. Anyway, I think, what was it? Two or three of us on that. So, it's weird to talk to yourself. And that's pretty much what single radio is. It's talking to yourself. That's why I want to include you guys as much as humanly possible. Come on in. Ollie, King Ollie, my little dog is staring through the door saying, come on in, you buddy. But, you guys, we'll be incorporating, when I say we, I mean me. We'll be incorporating you guys more so. We'll be using text on getting a phone. We'll put a chat room back up and we'll get going from there. Buddy Ed in the chat room now. Hi, Ed. Hey, guys. Now, look, I know through last night and what's been going on, a lot of you guys listen on other platforms. Now, I don't know these platforms. I don't know how the hell they got the stream. I don't know why or whatever. I'm cool with it. I don't care. I mean, whatever, whichever way you guys want to listen is fine with me. But I would appreciate it if you could go over to our YouTube page. And it's Renegade Radio Boston. Almost forgot. Renegade Radio Boston. And just hit like, subscribe, do something like that. Because then anytime I go live, you'll get a little notification. So to come check in. So anyway, today is Thursday? God, this week is flying by. And not in a good way. I know there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world. That plus I'm actually I don't know how personal I want to get here. I'm actually almost in the middle of moving again, forcefully this time. And who knew? You don't pay rent, they want you out. Who knew? They should have been a little more upfront about that when I signed the lease. I didn't know they wanted that much money every month. I just thought it was like a one-time gig. I was like, wow, that's pretty cheap. And then, didn't pay for the rest. So I owe a tremendous amount of money, probably getting the old bootski by next Friday, but after the show Friday. So I'll do the show. Then wherever I wind up, I'll be doing a show on Monday. So we'll figure all that out together, guys. So anyway, I don't know if anybody was watching the news yesterday, which is kind of silly, but I was going through this morning as I was thinking about, what are we going to babble about for the few minutes we're on today? And I went on to Fox News, right? Now, Fox News, I think everybody knows is a joke. They've really just cut ties with Trump and just with everything that they used to be. And now they're just, another liberal BS platform. But I went on Fox News's webpage and I'm looking at the, what's going on in the world today. What are we going to talk about? And I'll do it right now, just so you know, we're being totally accurate. First story, tennis great gives forward reaction to Riley Gaines' exchange with activists during hearing. Okay. So a tennis great yelled at Riley Gaines for not wanting to get changed in front of a transsexual. Okay, there's that. Who is on OceanGate Titanic sub? That's another one. OceanGate co-founder says time window for Titanic sub rescue may be longer than people think. Okay. Now, once again, I know this sub story is a big issue. I mean, trust me, I kept thinking about it last night. And here's the thing. Have you ever noticed like people on the internet have become real scumbags? Like there's no empathy. There's no common consideration or for anybody else but themselves. And it's all about saying something stupid. You know what I mean? It's all just saying something stupid. I was online and I think somebody put, prayers for the people or whatever. Okay. I'm all about that. And prayers, check. I liked it. And I even think I said I was praying for him. Within 8 seconds, you get the jokes. Now, I used to do stand-up for a long time. Jokes do not offend me. I'm fine with it. Do I think it was inappropriate and maybe a little too soon? Yeah. Considering that there are people suffocating on the bottom of the ocean floor right now, might not be the time to throw a zinger out. But the people started wishing death on these people like they were really angry. And the reason they're really angry isn't because they're in a sub on the bottom of the ocean like idiots in this sub that was put together by I don't know, some glue, a tape, and a stapler. uh, they're mad at them because they were able to afford to be able to go down to see the Titanic. It's all rich people, it's billionaires and multimillionaires. So for some reason, in some people's heads, that makes it okay that they're going to suffocate. Like, that's sick, man. You people are sick. And then on top of it, there's this one guy. Oh, this poor bastard. There's this one guy who brought his son with him. A nice father-son experience. You think, hey, I'm going to give my kid an experience he's going to be able to talk about for the rest of his life. Not in this way, not the way it turned out. I'm sure this guy thought he was doing a great thing. And I'm sure the mother did not want him to go. I guarantee you, moms did not want him to go and was saying, hey, you're a dope. Don't do it. Don't do it. And what did they do? Boom, they go down. They were showing last night some video of this sub, and it's incredible how what's it, do it yourself it is? Like, it really is. It was put together by mental midgets. Like, I'm going to share the video on our Renegade page. And it was just these guys in it, and they're showing you how you pretty much have to lay down the entire time, which sucks. Imagine being down there right now, 2.5 miles under the water, knowing your oxygen's going. I'm sure they didn't bring more than a lunch. I'm sure there's no food rations on there. The other thing I think about, and I know this is just because I'm a little bizarre, is there a bathroom on the sub? I don't think there is. It wasn't supposed to be a 4 or 5 day thing. It was just supposed to be a few hour thing. So I don't think there's a bathroom. So you got these poor people down there that, are probably dying to go to the bathroom, really hungry and thirsty, worried about their air. And you got these Twitter dicks that are just wishing death on them. It's horrible. What I've come to realize is Twitter is probably the cesspool of negativity. Like, it's where all the evil of this world goes to, because they're allowed to be jerk offs. You know what I mean? They're just allowed. And I don't care. Once again, I've told horrible jokes during my life. Trust me. I love inappropriate humor. But I also kind of think, time and a place, man. Maybe I'm just getting older. Maybe it's me. I just think that, cheering 5 people suffocating, it didn't sit well with me. Maybe it's because when I had COVID and I was suffocating and I turned on the TV. Well, it was already on in the hospital, and I saw President Biden telling me that I pretty much shouldn't get any care because I didn't get the vaccine, so I should suffocate. So maybe I'm identifying on that level. But I will tell you, I went on Twitter, and I go on Twitter only because Facebook's a joke. Twitter sucks too, but at least you can say what you want on Twitter, even if it's asshole-ish, and there are a lot of assholes. So, I don't know. It was a weird thing. Then I put something, and this is the problem. And you can always tell, by the way, the most hateful people out there and most hateful people on Twitter are liberals. Okay. I know that they consider themselves the party of love and hippies and all that crap, but that was in the 90s, everybody. It's no longer that party now. These are evil socialist scumbags that wish death and kind of cheer the fact when something bad happens to people. You know what I mean? It's really weird that this is what this country has come down to. And this is, like the world's come down to, because, Twitter's not just our country. It's all the world. Whole bunch of jerk offs. We got so many people in this world that really are just evil. They're just evil. No soul having. I really got offended with, and I don't mean offended like I was going to clutch my pearls and run out of the room, but I just meant look, like I said, I've told horrible, mean, nasty, insensitive jokes before in my life. I get it. I do. But come on, man. You know what I mean? There's a kid down there. You know what I mean? I think the kid's 18, 19, something like that. Yes, there's a kid down there, man. And besides that, I just did something that I hate, by the way. I just said, there's a kid down there. Normally people, there's women and children. How about this? Who gives a crap who it is? There's some human being down there. That's what should matter. Shouldn't matter if it's a woman or a kid or, you know what I mean? Because believe it or not, men hurt too. You know what I mean? It's not like you go, there were only 5 men down there. Ooh, thank God. All right, suffocate, you scumbags. It's just, I feel horrible for those people. I just can't get it out of my head. And then, of course, our government's so stupid, and it's just so backwards. Everything is run so dumb. Like you got the mayor, Pete Buttigieg, who's running our transportation secretary. That's letting everything fall to crap. We have bridges falling apart, tunnels falling apart. The bridge in Pennsylvania last week that fell and crushed that person to death because there was a fire on it. Has anybody ever heard that before, by the way? Have you ever heard of a bridge collapsing because there was a fire? Like, does that make sense? Like, I don't think that makes sense. I know they tried to say that during 9/11, The buildings collapsed because of the fire. Yeah, well, that was also 2 airplanes full of jet fuel. I kind of get that one. But somebody throwing a Marlboro light out the window and it collapses a bridge. That's kind of weird to me. I think they may be hiding the truth there. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But real quick, in the chat room, our buddy Dwayne's back. Hi, Dwayne. 845 into his house. Ed's here. Ed, I heard Ed from where are you? I forget where you're from now, Ed. But anyway, Ed says I heard on Jeff Cooner this morning that the person in charge of the sub trip chose his ship crew over total diversity with not much experience. Man, does that really make sense? I get something, dude. I haven't read that, but I don't doubt it. I forget which airline it is, but there's an airline, and this was during the Trump thing, and they've done it. They were saying they were going to 50% of their hires or something were going to be like African American, people of color, blah blah blah. Not the most qualified of people, just their skin color. That's all you need to qualify. So if there was a white person, a Chinese person, a Spanish person that was more qualified for you and can fly that plane and ensure people's safety, what the hell safety? We'll give you the gig. You get to wear the cute little outfit with the little wings on it. It's silly, but I don't, something, if that's the case with the sub, I don't doubt it because of a few reasons. One, when you saw the video of them, and when I tell you, the guy literally is running the sub with a PlayStation, a game controller. It's just a game controller, and he's laughing about it. I think he said it was $30, and he's laughing about it. Yeah, this is how we control it with the little game. And I thought he was kidding because who the hell's going to get in a sub with a game controller as the propellant or whatever? I don't know. Something. Maybe he didn't bring extra batteries. That's it. All he had to do is drop a few AA batteries at the top of the water, let it sink to the bottom, and it'll help them out. I don't get it. And if the whole diversity thing is a bunch of crap, when are we going to get away from this? When are we going to just stop with this crap? Like, what is it? All because they call Donald Trump a racist. He is a racist. So any of his supporters are racist too. But now everything has to be, and I know this sounds silly, and I don't mean it to sound bad, so follow it. Not everything has to be equal, because everything is equal. The opportunities are equal. Just because you don't get a gig doesn't mean it's because of the color of your skin. It could be because you didn't qualify. You don't know what you're doing. You're not as good as the guy behind you. Something like that. But instead, nobody's not smart enough. Nobody's not good enough. It's all my skin color. It's all my religion. It's all my sexuality. It's always an excuse. Maybe you just aren't good enough as a person. Maybe you just don't have enough experience. You don't have enough education. You don't know what you're doing. Just because you're black doesn't mean they hand you the keys to a plane or the keys to a sub. It's stupid. It's stupid. And anybody who got in it, I hope they were told prior, because that would change my choices. It would change my opinion in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I literally, once they started saying that stuff, I'd say, well, what's the refund policy? Because I'm out. But they were showing, once again, how they control it with the little remote thing. And then they're walking around and they're saying, see this piece right here? And they're pointing at like the breathing, hole, whatever that is. I'm sure it's not called a breathing hole. But, like the vent where the air was coming in. And he goes, $30 at Home Depot. That cost me the amount of money the guy spent that he told us was under $100 as he was crawling around this sub on his hands and knees. And you're going to go 2.5 miles under the ocean? You know what I mean? Are you guys nuts? I am so tired of it. I'm just so tired of it. It really just, it breaks your heart, because that like it's going to be the downfall of this country. It's the downfall of, let's put it this way, your safety is at risk. Getting on a plane with somebody who wasn't the best pilot in his class or her class is putting my life at risk. I don't like that. And I still got to pay the $450 round trip to risk my life with you. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's sick. Anyway, in the chat room, once again, we have a buddy. John's here now. John is going to be helping me out with the music part of the show eventually, because you guys can't hear the music I play. So don't know why that is. John's going to look into it, because I wouldn't know. Dwayne says, no one is equal. Playing make-believe won't help society. And that's 100% correct. The make-believe thing is so weird. It is, because you're supposed, and people who don't want to play the game with them, you don't want to pretend that education matters, experience matters, competency matters. Well, then it's not because it matters. It's because you're a racist pig that can't see through your hatred. What are you talking about? I got into an argument with somebody. I know it's hard to believe. The other day, who I didn't even know. I was talking on the phone, and I said something, and the guy behind me decides he's gonna chime in. You know what I mean? With his and all I'm going to tell you is he had 4 different shades of hair color. You know what I mean? He's the other thing that bothers me with these guys. I'm talking to someone else. He's going to jump in, and if he were a big guy and he was like threatening or whatever, I could see him having that type of confidence. But he wasn't. You know, he just wasn't. Like, he's one of those guys now where, let's be honest, I think testosterone is a thing of the past for most of these guys. I don't know what they've done. I don't know if it's in our food. I don't know if it's, when you're born, do they do something? Men are no longer masculine. And not all, of course. I mean, but the younger group of guys that I see coming up, yeah, I'm not seeing the intimidation factor. And by the way, let me clarify that. White liberal kids. Okay? Because I know, you shouldn't shut up. It's true. How come telling the truth now is bad? How come if you see something that's obvious, it's bad? Like, one of my friends was talking the other day, and there was a guy that we know. He's an African American guy. He'd been to jail, whatever, and not a big deal. I've been to jail. You know what I mean? Not for anything around parking tickets. Same thing with him. It was like not paying fines or something stupid. So I forget how it came up, but the topic came up about somebody being in jail, and I said, "Well, he was in jail." And he goes, "Why? Because he's black?" Ugh, no, because I know I'm stupid and I know the story. But their first reaction is, "Why? Because he's black." Because we live in this thing where you can't tell the truth. Now, when the dude came over, he's like, "Yeah, I'm in jail for that." They were mad at him for telling the truth. They don't want the truth because the liberals have to see things through their twisted view of this whole white people are evil and they hold everybody down. And it doesn't matter. Even Ben Carson is held down. Will Smith is held down. The richest of the rich black people are held down. Because you know something, once they realize that's not true, it breaks the narrative. It shatters their illusion. Well, why do you think they call Ben Carson a white supremacist? Like, that's when I realized we live in such a stupid time. You know what I mean? That it's almost not worth fighting. It's just not worth fighting for it because they're dumb. And no matter what you say, the answer you're going to get back is not going to make sense, but they'll swear to it. And then that will just be the answer, by the way. Wait. Ben Carson's a white supremacist. Well, he's African American, but he's a white supremacist. He's a self-hating black man who's a white supremacist. Really? That's how you're going to try to twist that? And I don't see Ben Carson being self-hating at all, by the way. I see Ben Carson being a brilliant man. The man's a brain surgeon. Like, literally, not just that, like when you say, "Oh, you should be a brain surgeon." This guy's literally a brain surgeon. And I believe he was the first and only guy that separated, I think they were conjoined by the brain or something, twins. Like the operation, I don't think was ever done before. So delicate. So just one of those things. And Ben Carson did it, right? Not black Ben Carson, not white Ben Carson, just Ben Carson, just the man. That's where we used to live. Well, this is what I'm going to say. When I was growing up in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, that's where you used to live. You honestly, I'm not going to say everybody because that would be a lie. Majority of people, especially if you live near a city, I've always lived near cities. There's really no black and white. I mean, everybody lives together. Everybody, let's put it this way. You can get rid of racism very, very easily when you put, I don't know, 20 people, let's say in a bank, white, black, Spanish, gay, straight, whatever, and then send some terrorists in. And you want to see 20 people, bond real quick and realize color don't matter, sexuality don't matter, and whatever don't matter. When we're all in this boat together, my friends, that's kind of the way it was when I was growing up. It was just like, it doesn't matter, if they're white, black, Chinese, who cares? What does it matter to you? You know what I mean? Are they cool? Yeah, then hang out with them. If they're not, then don't. I've always said, assholes come in all shapes and sizes. You know what I mean? Literally and figuratively. But I mean, I'll treat you the way you treat me. If you're cool, I'm cool. If you're a dick, I could be a bigger one, and I'm Irish, so that's saying a lot, because meaning not physically I can't, but you know what I mean. The Lord didn't bless us in certain ways. That's all I'm saying. And it's not a stereotype. Thanks God. But, I honestly, if people are going to go out, and start doing this thing where we're just going to reward or punish each other by the color of our skins, we're in a lot of trouble, man. And it would explain a few things. It would explain why our reading and math comprehension is literally, what did they say? It's at its lowest since 1971. Okay. That's 52 years ago. Okay. Everybody wants to blame everything except the teachers. I am so tired of the teachers union. I am so tired of teachers. You want to act like these people are saints? Here, this won't be popular. You want to act like teachers are saints? Well, you're out of your effing minds. They're not. It's a job. They get paid to do what they do. They get paid handsomely. They also get every holiday off, every weekend off. They get vacations in the middle of the year. They get vacations for summer. And it's not enough. What, making 70 grand ain't enough? Really? 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 That's not enough for you? And that's like the middle ground of it. That's what this is. I am not going to say all teachers suck because some of them are phenomenal. I had quite a few. That stuck with me. Mr. McGavin, God love him. I was in 8th grade. That's how good this man was. I was in 8th grade. I was 13 years old. And think about it. I was 13 then. 9 years later, I still remember him. I mean, this guy made an impression. Mr. Leone, another one. Mr. Graham, another one. I mean, Mrs. Lee didn't like her. She made an impression for a bad reason. She was fat and had coffee breath, and she was really mean to everybody. But everyone else I like. I also had teachers. When I was in high school, believe this or not, I had long hair. I know, hard to believe. If you could imagine me with long hair, right? So I had long hair and a goatee, and I wore all black. Had this whole image going on back then. And I had teachers that, or I guess it was the school in general, that would put all of us, all the long-haired metal kids, or what they thought were druggies because they smoked the wacky tobacco, in certain classes together. Not like the slow classes. I don't mean that. But just, we would, how you would travel around in cliques in high school? Like you would go to biology, then you would go to history, then you would go to gym and, algebra, whatever. And you kind of all traveled in a pack. That's kind of what we did, at least when I went to school. Well, they put all the heavy metal kids together. You know what I mean? Because they thought, these kids are wastes. And I had a teacher, I'll never forget her name, Lita Phillips. Oh, fat Lita Phillips. Lita was probably about, she's Louise, I don't know, probably about 3'4" and about 852 pounds. She was a massive woman. And she wore those horrible house dresses that women used to wear in like the 60s and 70s. Like it would be blue with these flowers all over it. And it would just it looked like a nightcoat, if people know what a nightcoat is. And she was just, a horrible person. The first day that she came into class, I thought I was going to like her because I like old people. I really do. I love old people. I love the stories. I like hearing about the old days. I also think at some point I'm going to be old. I hope somebody's nice to me. I've always had an affinity for elderly people. I just like hanging out with them, and it's just me. But when you're talking to, some people, and you have, like, I don't know, like the way we treat our elderly now is sickening. And the only reason I said that, and I'm sorry, I just got knocked off topic there a little bit because I am me, is I have a friend who's a nurse who's working in a nursing home and will text me all the time just saying, Brian, I don't know how if I could do this. Like, I don't know how, like, this is horrible. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what's so horrible? And they tell me how they're treated. And she's like, they just treat these people like bags of meat. Nobody's nice to them. They don't talk to them. It's, but anyway, I'll get back to that later. Teachers in general, though, like I said, they are the most self-entitled people I've ever heard. Very judgmental, and they really believe that their authority reigns over a parent's now. Okay, I don't know when they started believing that. I don't think that to be true at all. I mean, I don't really give two craps what my gym teacher says about my sexuality. That's the new thing. If I go in and say I feel like a girl to my gym teacher, they're going to treat me like one, and they're going to hide it from my parents. That's not what teachers should be doing. Plus, by the way, you pay for these teachers. These aren't private school teachers, which you'd be paying for anyway. These are public school teachers. You pay, I pay, we all pay through taxes. They have no right to do what they're doing. And then when everybody tells us how the teachers need more, they need to earn more, they need to earn more. Well, once again, our kids are reading and doing math at a level that hasn't been seen in 52 years. You can't blame the pandemic. You can't blame, because prior to this, it sucked too. The pandemic, if anything, got a few kids out of the public school system, which was good. And hopefully, I don't know if they're going to go private or the parents, but just get out of that brainwashing environment where they walk in now. Like I said, I have friends that teach, and they go in and like their rooms are rainbow colored now. Like this whole acceptance. Listen, man, I get you accept people for who they are, but you also don't force your agenda. And when teachers, adults, role models, I don't know, parental figures are telling these kids that it's okay, you should try it. Why wouldn't you try it? You should be proud. You're influencing my kid and not such a great way. So, I am not the biggest fan of the teachers anymore. I haven't been in a while. I really get tired of it. The whole blind allegiance to them because they don't deserve it. Nobody deserves blind allegiance because you know something, everything can go bad. You're going to get people that abuse systems and everywhere you go. Anyway, very quickly, let's see. No, 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 no. I'm just trying to see who's back in the chat room. Dwayne says no one is equal. Okay, we already read that one. You can just see it now. Trying to go into a store, the workers are terrible. Half the time, most people working don't care and can't complete tasks. Now I know I'm going back a little bit there, Dwayne. Sorry, I'm just getting into the chat room now. But you're right. You're right. And you nailed it. And it's right since COVID and ever since COVID, every store I go into is either understaffed or badly staffed. And the people that work there really take advantage. And when I say work there, I'm talking about everywhere I go. I'm talking food stores, restaurants, department stores. You ever notice like there's nobody helping you anymore? You ever need help in a store and you know how before you look around for somebody, ain't nobody. And then if you do find somebody, will say, "Hey man, do you know what aisle this is in?" No. And then they keep walking. Like they don't like there's no customer service because remember, everyone's a hero. During the pandemic, everybody that decided to show up that worked at Stop and Shop was a hero. Everybody that worked at CVS was a hero. No, they just had jobs that didn't close during the pandemic. They're not heroes for that. They were still getting paid and is what it is. I'm not saying anything bad about it because I worked during the pandemic. I'm not a hero for it. I had no choice. So most people didn't. But you know, before the pandemic, if you were rude to a customer or nasty or didn't do your job, they'd fire you. For some reason now they don't fire anybody. You know, it's very, very sad. Let's see. Night Patrol says big box stores. Yeah, big box stores, man. Like, think about it. Go into Target and try to get help. Well, not Target. Target sucks. Go into JCPenney's or one of them that hasn't offended everybody and try to get help. You won't. You know, the only time you're going to see somebody is when you walk up to a cashier. I always think it's weird. I haven't seen it, and I've been to the mall in Brockton, Massachusetts. But I guess people steal from here all the time. They just, especially, I guess JCPenney's is a favorite. They just go and they grab sneakers and shirts and literally walk out the door, and nobody does anything. And I find that to be bizarre because when I go into a store, and I've had this before, I get followed. I know I'm being followed. They're kids. They're not that smart. You know, if I stop and look at something and they have to stop and look at something 20 feet behind me, and then I go walking, they walk, I stop, they stop. Come on, stop it already. It's stupid. You know what I mean? So you'll come after me, but you're not going to come after, you know, everyone else that's ripping you off, coming in with bags to steal stuff. And by the way, I'm not ripping you off, stupid. You're wasting your time with me. I'm probably the only dope that this happened actually the other day. I have this thing with karma, right? Because I have pretty crappy luck sometimes, but I do think that there's karma, and I just believe in being honest for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe my mommy taught me that. But when I went to the store, I got outside, and I had realized in the bottom of my carriage, or you know, in the corner there was something I didn't pay for, and I mean, I think it was like $4. It was nothing, but I had to go back in and pay for it because I keep thinking that that's a test from God. That is God testing me. Hey, you'll never get caught. Nobody will ever know, Bri. But are you that type of guy? You know, so honestly, I'm the dick that I don't know if you guys remember this from I guess I don't know if this was before or after MEX. I think it was after. But I was in a parking lot at the mall and I found a brand new what are those things called? I've never had one, so I don't know what to call it. Oh, iPad. A brand new iPad. It was like $900, something like that. Still, it was in the box, had the receipt in a bag. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? So some person bought it and then left it in the parking lot by mistake. Don't know why, don't know how, dropped out of, who knows? And I grabbed it and I thought to myself, oh, I've always wanted one of these. These things are cool. And then I walked it into the store and I said, hey man, somebody just, you know, and I'm thinking to myself as I'm doing this, though, this is probably not the best bet because I'm about to hand this to this guy who's probably going to keep it. You know what I mean? He's got the receipt too. I mean, I don't trust anybody that works at stores. You know, why would you? But I brought it in just thinking like, you know, if I were that guy that dropped it, I would hope somebody wouldn't be an asshole and would return my stuff. That doesn't exist that much anymore. And once again, you have them, I don't know, worried about the wrong things in these stores. You should be working on customer service. You should be working on security. You should be working on certain things, but they're just not. And once again, that is the identity politics hires too. And that isn't a racist thing to say, by the way, because it could be white people are hiring. It doesn't. You're the racist one if you immediately went to another color, not me. Let's see. Dwayne says, I saw a sign at my local Hannaford's that says we are voted the best place to work for I don't know what the hell that. Oh, LGBTQA plus. I'm thinking, is that why the meeting? Oh, okay. All right, that's a funny joke. That's a good joke, right? But I will say, I've seen that too. I've definitely seen that. I went to a dispensary. Who knew I took weed? I went to a dispensary the other day, and it was like literally just walking into a rainbow. Like it was like somebody took 8 different colors and just splattered them all over the place. It was, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Then the kids that are working there have to wear these huge pins that say Pride and all this stuff on it. And I'm thinking, this is because when I worked at a dispensary, in Brookline for a while, Netta, and Netta is whatever the cause of the month is, they're behind because they believe it's going to promote sales. Which okay, that's good business, I guess. When it came to I guess this had to be last year, Pride Month and all that stuff. They want you to wear pins. Well, here's the thing. I'm not a kid. I'm not wearing pins. You know what I mean? I'm not wearing a name tag. I'm not wearing pins. Just stop it. I'll do my job, but I'm not doing all that other stuff. So the guy comes around and he hands me a pin. And I said, no, I don't wear pins. He goes, oh, because it's the gay flag. I said, I didn't even look at it. I didn't even look at it. But immediately you're on the defense. And no, I'm not going to wear a gay flag pin. Why would I? Why would I? I'm not. Again, I have gay people in my family, and I have gay friends. They know that I don't care. But why would I wear a gay pin? That doesn't make sense to me, and I'm not going to be forced to either. I obviously still don't have that job. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. But it kind of is what it is now. Every store is going to play this. They play these roles because they're pandering. They're all pandering. So when you have, think about what Target did. Target and Anheuser-Busch with Bud Light. They believe that the cause du jour of the day is what everybody wants. So they see the Pride thing and they think, well, everybody in America is going to be behind that. Well, some people are, some people aren't. Some people just don't want to be involved because it has nothing to do with their life. That's not bad, but having it forced down your throat by a company is what's bad. And they all do this. They pander. So this store that Dwayne's talking about, I guarantee you, on Juneteenth, they had the Juneteenth flag. I mean, and we talked about this actually the other day, that the gay community got very angry. Well, not all of them, obviously. It was something called The Advocate, was tweeting, hey, even though it's Juneteenth, don't forget that your gay brothers and sisters are still in slavery. Look, did you really just do that? Did you equate whatever's going on in this country to slavery 200 years ago? Are you out of your minds? This is the problem. That's why words don't mean anything anymore. When somebody calls you a Nazi, that's stupid. Nobody's a Nazi here, and if there are, there's probably 10 of them, and should be exterminated, by the way. I'm not about that, but they've used the term so much, oh, you're a Trump supporter, Nazi. What are you talking about? So, when you think about what the Nazis actually did, it was horrific. So to equate that stupid, to say that gay people are slaves and going through what African Americans did 200 years ago is stupid. It's just stupid. But on the left, you got to remember, on the left, it's always feel bad for me. I'm a bigger victim. I'm a bigger victim than them. And it doesn't matter who you're talking about. So you could take whether it be white people or Irish people, gay people, Spanish people, whatever. Everybody on that side is competing to see who gets the bigger pity party. And if you say, well, my people had it bad. Oh, yeah. Well, what about the Irish? I mean, come on, just stop it. Stop it. You have nothing to do with anything that happened 200 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, even 10 years ago. Move on with your lives. And to say that you're slaves in this country, do you understand? And I'm talking to gay people. If you understand that if you were in, I don't know, one of many other countries right now, you'd be stoned to death. They would literally kill you. You don't even have to be caught in the act or even any proof that you're gay. Just the thought of you being gay, they will kill you. They throw people off buildings. I don't know. I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but who the hell is going to correct me? But I think it was Pakistan. It could have been Pakistan or Afghanistan, but I guess it was every Sundays they have like these big get-togethers at football stadiums where 50,000, 100,000 people go. And that's when they do the executions. A lot of executions are for silly stuff. Let's be honest, it's silly stuff. My wife looked at another man. All right, well, let's kill her. Let's kill that bitch. She did what? And how can you tell? She's got a burqa on. You know what I mean? Stop it. But Over in other countries, if you talk with a lisp, oh, I think that guy might be a little, they're going to kill you. That's horrible. That's what you would be dealing with if you weren't blessed by God or luck to be in this country. So for you to consistently be spitting in our faces, it's becoming an issue for us. Okay. It's becoming a real issue. And what I mean by that is you really should appreciate what you got. Like I said, my gay friends and the gay people in my family, really, like, I was talking to one of them, and he had said, he's like, you know something, man, every day I thank God I live here. He's like, read the papers, man. Look what they do to other people. You don't have freedom of choice over there. You don't, whatever. Women can't do this. Gay people can't exist. It's horrible what they do in other countries. And yet, people here, bitch. They're then in the same breath, they'll say, you got to let all the people, the immigrants coming in, all the illegals got to come in. They got to come in. They need better lives because the rest of the world sucks. But you just told me my country sucks. You just told me you're in slavery. Come on, man. See, that's why I can't be a liberal or a Democrat, because I can think more than one step ahead. And I think that's why the people that used to listen to Renegade, the people that are listening to me now, people that, listen to Cooner, I like Cooner. I do like Cooner. He's getting on my nerves, but I like, under all the nonsense, I like what his show is. But there are people out there trying desperately to wake people up, but you know something, man? I think some people like being asleep. I have a friend, and it's almost like they're just walkers or whatever, man, because I have a friend I knew for a very, very long time. And he really showed me his true colors. Like, when I tell you a long time, I mean, from birth till a few years ago, we were best friends. My mom took me home from the hospital, and his mother and my mom were best friends. And she put me in a crib with this guy. I've known him that long. We haven't spoken in 5 years, 6 years. In that time, I've had like 3 family members die. I've had 2 get horrible things happen to. I almost died in the hospital with COVID, and never once did that person reach out. All that happened was we disagreed on Hillary or Trump. That's all that happened. And I don't believe a guy that I thought that had so much common sense can sit there, look me in the face and say that, no, he'd rather have the person that doesn't know how to fly a plane that's black, but given the opportunity to, as opposed to, okay, the guy's white, but he does have 47 years of experience and I know I'll get there safe. I'd rather go with that black guy because I'm a liberal. No, you're not. And by the way, liberals are probably the most racist people on the planet, but they're so ignorant and blind to their own racism that they can't see it. It's not, I always think that they do see it, that they understand that they're hypocrites and they're just like, whatever, just act like you don't know. But I'm starting to believe now that they're just so blind to their own ignorance that they don't get it. Everyone else is an asshole. They're perfect. You are a racist. Me, I'm all encompassing to everybody. I'm loving to everybody. I never judge anybody, you asshole, which is so funny. I never judge anybody, you piece of crap. That's what they do. Liberals remind me, and you could tell liberals started Planet Fitness, the gym Planet Fitness, because it's a no judgment zone. Unless you go there to work out and you grunt sometimes and maybe you drop a weight, because then you're a lunk and we don't like you and we're going to, come on, man. It's so dumb. We live in such a dumb time. And if you're the one that tries to correct the stupidity, once again, doesn't matter. It could be stupid. Once again, hey, that's not nice. You called that guy a lunk. Well, you're a racist. What? Why am I a racist? Well, that's the easiest thing I could call you to shut you up and change the argument back into my favor, because that's how they play. They're just weird people, man. Like, I love when people will say, you're a racist, you're a racist. I have, 4 black friends. Well, why are you counting them? I'll be honest with you, I hate the fact that I had to say before that I have gay people in my family, because that's none of your business. No offense to you guys. You didn't make me say it. But that's none of your business. I have gay friends. None of your business. None of your business. Something? And I hate the fact that I had to say it, but I was trying to prove a point. But normally, if you called me a homophobe, I'm not going to say, well, blank is gay and this is gay. I think what you want to think, man. I don't give a crap what you think. But the problem is a lot of other people they're so into the holier than thou thing. It gives them a rush, because they're such losers in just most everything else that they do. And they try to act like, well, I'm a loser because I just pass along the love. And I don't want your corporate rat race. No, you want all the benefits of the corporate rat race. You want the Apple phone and the Starbucks and the laptops and all that stuff. You just don't want to have to work for it. I gotcha. I gotcha. Because I'll tell you, and this coming from somebody who absolutely knows, because I told you I'm getting thrown out of this place. Money is hard to come by, and disposable income is real hard to come by. You know, living here in Massachusetts is probably not the best idea for a lot of people, me included, because I live in a nice place. It is a nice place. It's way too nice for me. But I'm looking now at other places that I can afford. Now, here's the problem with me affording them. Let's say you make $15 an hour. Okay. That's what everybody's saying the minimum wage should be, because that's a living wage. And by the way, a lot of people, because it's not the minimum wage, make less than it, make 13 or whatever. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I know they're not making 15 as of yet. Problem being, prices have gone up too. Okay. So that $15 when Donald Trump was a president, what, 6-7 years ago, that $15 now is, I don't know, probably worth 8 with inflation. So what has happened is you can make $600 a week. So what's that? $2,400 a month. Now minus your taxes, because you're going to get ripped. So let's say somehow you wind up with like $2,000 in your pocket. Try to find a 1-bedroom anywhere in the state of Massachusetts for $2,000. Try to find one that's under $2,000, so you can have, I don't know, electricity, food, gas, cigarettes if you smoke them, weed if you need it, and that's at $15 an hour. That's really not that bad a wage. When I was a boy, I think my first job, God, I sound like an old man. I apologize, everybody, because I don't feel old. I might be old, I guess. I think my first job, I was making $4.25 an hour. $4.25 an hour. And I was a kid. I was like 15 or so, because I had to get working papers. So I worked 10 hours a week. I getting not even $50 after taxes. You know what I mean? And like now you're making 3 times that amount, and it kind of is the same. It's like you'll get as far today with the 15 as I did with the 4.25. There's nothing here that is substantial that's making me pay this rent. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have my job with the old radio station. If I was still at that station, or I get with a new one up here, yeah, absolutely. Something. But I used to date somebody up here. We no longer date. There's no reason for me to stay except for the dogs. I would stay for the dogs. That's actually the only reason I do stay is for my dogs. But if you think about it, who's going to pay, let's say, because I think the average, for a 1-bedroom in a place which is not a total slum, and I mean, it's a slum. I've been looking in slums because, it's a, because I put a little too much faith in my agent. Sorry, Ross, how to say it. Just kidding, buddy. I love you. But I'm looking at these places but they're over $2,000. They're like 2,400. And I'm thinking, my God, dude, think about that. That means you got to make $650 take home. Once again, what's that? So 800, you got to make $40,000 a year just to pay rent and to have zero left over for anything else, to live in a crappy little town in Massachusetts where, I don't know, it's cold as balls 9 months out of the year, right? There's really nothing to see. It's scenic. I mean, if you like boulders out of nowhere, sure. The Granite City, is it? You know what I mean? Like, I just, you're driving around and there'll be a boulder like in the middle of somebody's yard, and you're like, what the hell is that? You go by Wollaston, or however the hell these people say these names up here, Wollaston Beach, at low tide, and there's like little peaks of mountains all over the place. How do you swim in that? I mean, if you didn't know there was a mountain there, or big rock, whatever, you'd swim over the top and it would cut your stomach open. You'd be filleted. It's just, there's nothing cool about this. When I went up to New Hampshire, I know a lot of people listen that live in New Hampshire, and God love you. My buddy Fred Doucette's up there. I love Fred, and I've gone up there a few times to see him, and I've said each and every time the drive is boring, and when I get here, it's boring. There's really nothing to see. Well, hey, trees and rocks, everybody, trees and rocks. At least I want to see I like seeing the ocean. The ocean's nice, and I like living in cities. I lived in cities, for probably 20 years out of my life, though, and I love it. I mean, that to me is great. Everybody else likes, I want to see birds. Yeah, but then what? Like, I could look at a bird. Hey, look, there's a bird. All right, now what? Hey, look, another bird. Like when I drove up to Syracuse, New York once when I was a kid, they said, you're going to love it. Oh my God, Brian, you are going to love it. The scenery, you're going to take in the sights. Oh, it's going to be grand. And I was coming from Red Bank, New Jersey. Woo! Red Bank into his house. I was coming from Red Bank, New Jersey. Every time I go to a concert, I hate that when they mention the name of the city and everybody goes, woo! But I think it was like an 8-hour drive, something like that. I was suicidal as soon as I hit about an hour and a half, because once I got out of the city area, like there weren't even billboards to look at on the road. It was just trees and grass, trees and grass. And was it nice scenery for a minute? Sure, absolutely. I could have looked at that in a picture and not driven 16 hours round trip for it. I got all the way up there and I just, man, like I was like, why did you pick here to live? Like it's like, I guess I'm saying about Massachusetts. It's not, certainly not the weather. It's not the view. It's not the friendliness of the people. Because I'll tell you, something, doing the radio show was great. And we met such really cool people. Like, honestly, and I would say that the majority, actually all, but the majority of people listening, even right now on YouTube, like I know we've met at events and things like that. And I know people on the other platforms were writing in last night saying this, something. And I know there are plenty of nice people here, but you got a lot of JOs here too, man. You got a lot of jerk-offs. You got just, and I guess it's everywhere, because when I lived in Brooklyn, it was just as bad. Jersey was just as bad. You know what I mean? I guess, but it's just weird now, because at my age, I don't care about. I don't want to hear your crap. I'm not taking your attitude. You know what I mean? I've become. I think I've become. Oh my God, I have. I've become that old guy that doesn't care anymore. I've always been like that though, even as a kid. But when somebody says something to me, I'll go, "What the F did you just say? Like, are you serious? Like, aren't you like, the cashier or something? Aren't you supposed to be nice to people? Aren't you supposed to, like, how come I'm saying thank you and you're saying you're welcome at the end of this transaction, when really it should be the other way around? Because I'm the customer, stupid, but there's that. And then just, here's a great example. I walk my dogs all the time, right? So I'm out there walking the dogs. Let's say I've been here a year. I'm going to say, out of the 30 people I see on a semi, regular basis through the week, 15 are cool. It's literally right down the middle. The other 15, I don't know if they're cool or not, because we've never said one word to each other. Never said a word. We walk past each other. We look at each other as we walk past each other. I will hold the dogs back because I have ferocious dogs that will rip your face off. Ollie and Minnie. Don't let the names fool you or their size. But nothing. And it really hit me last night, because you could tell this bothered me. I was walking down the sidewalk, right? And it's like, I don't know, 7 at night. So it's still at night, but it's summer. So the sun's still up. It's pretty light out. And I'm walking the dogs, and we're kind of going down the middle. Now I see a woman who apparently could never keep her legs closed, because she had a bobsled baby carriage. It was like 4. It was like 4. It could hold 4 babies, like in a row, right? And they were all the same age. Okay. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess, unless they actually, I don't know if they were all the same age. I don't think she had quadruplets, but they were all like 2 and under, let's say. So I'm thinking, well, maybe she had 2 sets of twins. I don't know what's going on with this chick. Anyway, so I take the dogs and I kind of step aside. Like, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to let the lady, obviously go by. So as she's going by, like, the babies are kind of like, well, not babies. Actually, it might have been 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0 months. But the kid in the front, the big one, with that massive head, started pointing at the dogs and saying, "Oh, dogs." And I'm like, "Oh," So I was gonna, like, let them pet him or whatever. But she kept moving, and I'm like, "All right, I guess this, chick doesn't want to." And as she went by, Minnie barked, and Minnie, they're Pomeranians, they're tiny dogs, barked like beep, like a little beep bark. And the woman overreacted purposefully. You just heard Ollie bark for you. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that's what it sounded like, just like that. Hear that? Thank you, Ollie. He's just giving you a representation. And so they all right, buddy, they got it. So she jumps and puts her hand over her heart. Oh my God! Oh my God! And I'm thinking, really? Like, really? This 5-pound dog with this little squeaky bark just scared you? Like, are you guys out here? And it was because she was just that type of bee. She didn't. And I kind of smiled and said, sorry about that, right? And she just stared at me and then, like, kept walking. And I'm thinking, you nasty bitch. Like there's no reason for that. Like, we live in a society. God almighty, I feel like I'm on a Seinfeld episode. But where, at the very least, I'm from this camp. Do we need to stop and chat? No, I don't like to stop and chat. Do I need to know everything about your life? Absolutely not. Could care less. I don't care that much about my life. Why would I care about yours? That's kind of the way I look at it. But should we at least be civil? Like, maybe I do the nod. If it's a dude, you give him a nod. Hey, what's up? That's all. Keep moving. Hey, what's up? If it's a lady, you say, hi, how you doing? Because you don't want to give her the what's up. She's a lady. You give her the how you doing? And that's pretty much it. You could keep it moving from there. You know what I mean? To look at people like they do here, you look each other in the eyes and we just don't say anything. And then we both keep walking. And I've tried, you know me, everybody, I'm an effing teddy bear. Like literally, I'm a big teddy bear. So I've tried. I've said things like "Good morning" or "How you doing?" or "Oh, look at the baby," something like that. Which in hindsight, might sound creepy coming from me, but I don't mean it like that. I mean like, "Oh, look at the baby." um, yeah, and you just get that look of total like. Bleh. Now I don't know. Is it me they don't like? Is it the hair? Is it the fact I'm, you know, looking like a heavy metal guy from the '80s? Do I look just dirt baggy? Do I look like a heroin addict? You know what I mean? Should I be doing some methadone? Like what? Do you just not want me around because you think I'm bringing your property value down? You could be honest with me. I'm fine, but at least nod and say good morning. When I lived in a building, see that's the other thing too. When I moved here, I wasn't that happy with it because I used to live in an apartment building that had, I think it was 20 apartments on each floor and it was 10 floors. So think about it. What is that? 20 apartments or something? So 200 apartments. And you were forced to kind of be social because you'd have to ride the elevator. Good morning. Hey, how you doing? Hey, here it's raining out there. Oh, look at a dog. That type of stuff. And then I moved into this place, which is like, it's a building of 4 different apartments, but there's a lot of them. And then you just see people outside, which you no longer have to interact. And I think as a society, especially after COVID, people don't want to interact. I've noticed that too. Have you noticed the people who really avoid other people? Like I was in a store the other day. And there was people wearing masks still. Okay, if that's what you got. I mean, who knows? They might have other afflictions. I mean, whatever. But then as you walk by them, they do that weird thing. Almost like, have you ever tried to connect 2 magnets, but like by the wrong side and they kind of force each other apart? That's exactly what it feels like when I'm walking through the grocery store sometime. Like you go walking by and people are just pinging off you, ping, 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 ping. It's like, I get it, I guess, since COVID, you're very over paranoid. But you're really isolating yourself in so many ways because one, I don't even know what you look like because you got a mask that goes up to your, you're under your eyebrows. You know what I mean? And then you got that stupid shield on top of it. I mean, it's just they've really depersonalized people since COVID, and I think that's a problem. I mean, like because now it's okay to be an asshole to each other because you don't know what I look like, and you know what I mean. Like so in my mask or whatever, I don't have to say hello or how you doing or whatever. I could just walk right by you, like, shut your face. You know what I mean? And what are you going to do when I have my mask off? You're not even going to know if it was me or not, except for my gorgeous hairdo. That's how I would be recognized. But let's see. Yeah. Dwayne says, I think some of the news is a show or production. It's so hypocritical. I feel like it's designed to make normal people frustrated and upset. Dwayne, you're knocking it out of the park today, brother, because that's exactly what they're doing. And that's exactly the feeling I get as well, by the way. Frustration. That's the best word you could use for it. I am so frustrated with stupidity. I'm so frustrated with the news. And I'm so tired of people that like listen to like you take an Anderson Cooper or somebody like that, and he could say the dumbest thing. And it really just, it sounds idiotic. And then you look at people and they're on the panel and they're going, "That's right, Anderson. Oh, I couldn't have said that better." And people out there are buying it too. And you're like, what is this? Like, why is this allowed to be on TV? I'm from the school, and I know this sounds a little crazy, especially nowadays, because who would you trust to do this? So I understand that's the problem. There's no one to trust to do what I'm about to say. But if you put out false news or false facts, there's none of this, I'm protecting the source, because protecting the source means you're lying and you're going to just tell me somebody else told it to you. So it's not your fault, but you're not going to tell me who told it to you. That shouldn't be able to happen. If you put out false information, because right now it's becoming very deadly what they're doing. Actually, back during the riots, it was deadly. It's just getting worse. Fox News is horrible. CNN is horrible. I mean, the BBC, horrible. The AP, NPR. I mean, just stuff that like used to carry weight. Like, I don't care if, a lot of people say, "Oh, I never listen to NPR." Well, me either, really. I always had a brain in my head, but they used to have a little credibility. Like, it might have not been a lot, but it was, well, I heard it on NPR. No, well, it's not like you just heard it off the street. Like it had that type of credibility. No longer has that. But I don't know what organization you could possibly put in charge of enforcing that, because the Democrats say everything that's on a conservative station is a lie. Okay. And with no proof behind it, but is a lie. And then on the flip side of that, the Republicans and whatever say nothing about what's going on over on CNN. They say nothing about it. You saw this yesterday with the Adam Schiff thing. Adam Schiff got censured. The guy's a lying sack of shit. I don't care if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, or if you're an independent. The guy's a liar. He's a liar. Like it or not, you guys kept these Pinocchios on Trump, and this one said this, and the man's a liar. He got up on TV and said to people, I have seen things you cannot see because I'm the head of this committee. Trust me, Donald Trump colluded with Russia. He did it. I saw the evidence. You just can't, but believe me. That's what the man said. Did nobody hear what John Durham said? I mean, nobody read his report when it came out. Nobody seemed to care. We spent how many years and how many millions upon millions of dollars on it. And then because it didn't come out the Democrats' way, they were just like, whatever. Who cares? But yesterday, Durham testified to the fact that, I guess, Hillary, Obama, Biden, all knew about it, all knew that it was fake, all knew Hillary was the one that was paying for it, all knew they were pushing a fake narrative against a man who's running for president of the United States. They also knew that they were spying on an American citizen running. All this is factual. It's all factual now. And then on the flip side of that, what did I see? On the news, I see a whole bunch of Democrats applauding Adam Schiff, patting him on the back, telling him to stay strong. They're after you because you're telling the truth. People got up there and were saying things like they're doing this because they're jealous of him. Well, first off, is that not a typical 5-year-old girl response? That's why it's very Democrat. It's a very Democrat thing to say. You don't like it because you're jealous of me. Shut up, stupid. The guy's lied multiple times. He's a lying sack. We all know it. Cut the crap. And if you're not smart enough to put together that he's a liar, then I don't want you in power either. And there are quite a few, who's that one idiot? What's his name? Ron Johnson, I believe. The guy who thought Guam was going to tip over, and everybody thinks like that was a one-time faux pas. Like, he just said something stupid once. No, the man says something stupid all the time because he's stupid. Okay. It has nothing to do with color. He's a moron. I don't care how many fake diplomas they claim he has and whatever. Listen to what he says. He's stupid. Okay. AOC. Oh, well, she went to BU. So what? She's an idiot. She doesn't understand supply and demand. You have a degree in economics, I believe, and you don't understand. Isn't that the first concept? That's the first concept. I mean, that's so stupid. Once again, I used to be a stockbroker. One of the first things they teach you is, well, the price is going to go up if there are more buyers than sellers, and it's going to go down if there are more sellers than buyers. That's called supply and demand, and that applies to everything. That applies to everything, and yet she can't grasp the concept. She is a moron. Omar. Tlaib, Presley, Liz Warren. It's ridiculous. And people will say, "Oh, you name mostly women there." That's not my fault. That's not my fault. That's not a sexist thing to say. Tell me that you think Tlaib, what she says, is rational. Tell me you think what Omar says is rational. Tell me Liz Warren has a brain in her head. Come on, just stop it. We need to stop the crap, and especially if we're going to save this country, the Democrats have to be put in some sort of check, and that's going to have to be done by themselves. Like, you can't do it. You can't tell them, "Hey, you're an idiot," because they're going, you are. That's what you say because you're jealous of me. That's what my mommy told me. And that's what you're going to get from them. Somebody in a Democratic Party has to step up, and then they have this. What was it? Robert Kennedy Jr. Step up. This guy's something. He's okay on some things. He's crazy on others. It's just I don't understand why there can't be a rational Democrat. I don't understand it. Is it because if you're rational, they won't vote for you? If you actually come out with some common sense and say, "Hey, you know something, man? There are two genders," and stop it. The rest is just silly. Well, they're gonna run you right out. They've already told women that you can't be pro-choice and be a Democrat. This is silly. So somebody on that side has really got to stand up and get those people back in line. Never going to happen because you have people like Hillary Clinton that are promoting this crap. Because Hillary don't care. She's going to be dead soon. She just wants to hold on to power until she's dead. Power, money. Hillary's fine. Leave some for the grandkids. It is what it is at this point. It's not like she's going to have a come to Jesus moment. I hate that expression, by the way, but because I think it's blasphemous. But she's not going to have that moment. She's not going to have that moment of clarity. Because she's a shill. Her and her scumbag husband. The fact that they were president, and first lady and senators and all this stuff just shows you the corruption. Really, he was a dirtbag as a governor. How did he become president? People knew what a scumbag the man was. He had that Whitewater thing going on. It's just everybody knew he was. How come if you have a Whitewater, even allegation, type of thing, bribery and all that type of stuff, you shouldn't run for president. A president, am I saying a president should be, totally clean? No, nobody's totally clean. But when you're right in the middle of a scandal, probably not. That's why they did that stuff with Trump. Hey, remember all the women that claimed he raped them, and then all of them admitted they lied. I like how Busty Daniels or Stormy Daniels would came out. She gets the lawsuit, blah blah. Then she comes out and says, "Okay, I lied. I lied." Then she says, "No, I didn't lie. I lied about lying." Okay. Then she wrote a book or something. Now it's she. What, like, I guess it's no. Now we're back to she didn't lie because she wrote a book, but when somebody asked her if she lied, she said, "Well, no, like I guess it wasn't regular sex." I don't know what this woman's talking about because I don't pay that much attention, and I just keep thinking, like, why? Once you're proven wrong once, and by the way, you can't come out and claim somebody took advantage of you or raped you or whatever. You can't do that. Like we're going into a really weird, horrible place if that's what's going to start happening, because these accusations. Look what they did to Kavanaugh. Like these accusations, man, they could wreck your life. And imagine living through something like that, all because the Democrats don't like you. Democrats don't like you. Oh, you're a Republican? Well, watch this. You raped me when I was 17. Holy crap, man. And the fact that nobody faces any type of punishment for that, instead they get book deals. They get to go on Oprah. They get, what's going on? You know what I mean? It's absolutely, absolutely crazy what's going on. Let's see. They say that Score has big companies. BlackRock and Vanguard all have control. Okay. Let's see. Ed says, just got mad at people for not submitting the hypnotic state of victimization. Dwayne saying a gross analogy. Let's see. Wow. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really far behind here. Let's see. Peter Griffin says, still see people wearing masks while outside all the time in Boston. Yes. Oh, dude. That is something that drew. And here's the problem with that. Okay. If they're old, okay, or if they look kind of sickly, you know what I mean? Like, when you see somebody look a little too thin or you know what I mean? Like, I get it. You might have something. And I had COVID, by the way. And here's the thing about COVID. It sucks. Like, if you get it bad, like I know people who say, oh, yeah, I didn't feel anything. Well, great, man. I wish I had the same thing because I didn't. I felt like crap. I literally, man, I have never felt that bad in my life. Like that was, and it came on, like they say, oh, it's a flu, but it's weird, man. You could tell it's not the flu because I know it sounds stupid and I don't know if people understand this, but it feels man-made. Like it wasn't a natural sick. It wasn't a sick I'd ever been before. It was like like you felt it taken over. Like it was really weird. But I kind of had these body aches and that sucked because when that first started, I probably took a hot bath, man, I'm going to say once an hour to once every 2 hours for like 2 days because it was the only thing that would make it stop hurting for a minute. And even then it still hurt, but at least you could stretch out and whatever. The fever I got delusional apparently because I remember my ex came to get me. And then I think she said when she was walking me to the car or something, which I don't remember. I don't remember her coming over. I don't remember getting to the car. Don't remember the drive. Don't remember being at her house. But she said like you were talking to people and you were saying odd things and so apparently it is bad. So I understand you don't want it right now. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I didn't. Thankfully, I didn't have any comorbidities, whatever. And it was as bad as it was for me. And then I get better. You know what I mean? I can understand people with comorbidities that are afraid. Trust me, totally get it. The guy that was in the bed next to me, he was a very heavy guy and he smoked and like he was in bad shape, dude. They do a thing when you have COVID. They say to lie on your chest with your head up because you want to expand your lungs and you want enough air to dry out whatever is in your lungs is kind of what they were telling me. He couldn't even roll on his side. He had no energy. He was out, man. So I get it. But when I see kids wearing masks, when I see somebody alone on a beach wearing a mask, when I see somebody alone in a car, I just think like you people look like that was that fear porn that got you. You know what I mean? Like they really messed people up. I saw kids, like 4 or 5 years old, wearing masks on the playground the other day. Yeah, right here. I mean, it's not a city. You know what I mean? It's not, whatever. It is what it is, but people are terrified. But now that fear porn's got the kids terrified. And certain people now, you've terrified the parents. So they're going to bring that little kid up wearing a mask, and what kind of life is that? By the way, it kills your immune system. I'm sorry, your immune system needs something to do. That's kind of why you have one. In case something bad happens, your body could fight as hard as it can, as opposed to just being a big piece of nothing that the disease is going to devour, which it will. Especially, like I said, that COVID crap. I think that was a test run by China, and let's cut the crap. You know something? Why does everybody like to forget what was going on before COVID? Before COVID, like, think about this. What was happening before COVID? Remember I think they were called Yellow Jackets. There were these massive protests, and even though it wasn't getting a lot of coverage on mainstream media, but it started to at the end. But if you went online, it was all over the place. And what they were doing was they were protesting, in Hong Kong, I believe it was. They were protesting in Paris. They were all over the world, and they were really, you know, making a stink about this globalization and all that stuff. Boom, COVID comes. Every single country is shut down. Everyone, every single person is told to stay home. Everyone. Remember the video in China? I guess it was from a satellite. It was aerial, and it was of tens of thousands of people, all dressed in jumpsuits, shackled on their knees, being put on trains as slave labor. Who do you think they were? Who do you think those people were? That's a lot of people. You think those are just people who said, I'm not going to listen and I'm going to go outside? No, of course not. In communist China, of course not. Those people listen. They were brought up communist. That's why when people go, they yearn for freedom. Well, they don't know what freedom is. They've been brought up that way. They've been brought up thinking that they're free, that that way of life is better. You know what I mean? So shut up. Like, stop imposing your nonsense, your feelings on other things to justify what you do. Because most people that live in communist countries, does some want to leave? Of course, but that's because they'll experience freedom somehow. And they'll go, hey, I want that. But most people don't ever know what it was. So they don't know that what they're missing, if that makes sense, which it should. but people are just, I don't know, man. This whole world is going to poo on a stick here. Real quick, Scott in the chat room says, glad to hear, Brian. I've been dying to hear you guys. Hey, brother. Thank you. Just to catch you guys up for a little bit. John's not here. What's going to be happening with the show is, because John is making a lot of cash doing his other job. So he's going to be doing that until we can get back on terrestrial. Now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get a singular job hosting a show on a radio station around here. And then guess who's my guest every night? And what we're going to do then is, we kind of make it Renegade Radio without them knowing. Bing, bang, boom. We're back on the air doing morning soon. So that's what we're trying to do, just to catch you guys up there. Ed is saying that's one of the reasons I'm moving to Maine in August. Oh, because how much everything here in Massachusetts costs. Yeah. It's not just, and by the way, not just rent. It's not just, think about heating oil. When you got to pay for heating oil up here, especially after the inflation and all that stuff. John used to say that, he would actually have to, do other things, to heat his house because he couldn't afford it. Like, so it's incredible. Food's incredibly expensive. Everything is. You can't go out and do anything because everything is so expensive. It's just horrible, man. Let's see. Steve says, I walk at lunch almost every day and nobody makes eye contact with me as I pass by them. I'm with you, brother. I am totally with you. I don't know what it is. And like I said, I think it is from COVID, where it gave people the excuse for being an asshole. Like, you didn't look at people and you didn't go within 6 feet of people. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. Like, so you didn't need to be saying hello and nodding and whatever. And so now all of a sudden there's this weird awkwardness for some people when you walk by them and you make eye contact or you say something, because remember, they're afraid of you. A lot of these people are just afraid of you. They're afraid of COVID. They're afraid you're going to get them sick. They're then going to give it to their grandmothers. Because remember that one? When everybody was like, well, hey, a lot of healthy people aren't getting sick. It's just, overweight people that smoke, people with comorbidities. Yes, I get that some healthy people got it too. But the majority of people were elderly or had a comorbidity. And they would just flip it all. It's kind of like what they did with the vaccine, like, the vaccine, I got a vaccine, but then I got COVID. Yeah, it's supposed to happen. You told me I wouldn't get it. Remember everybody and Rachel Maddow and the vice president, everybody tell me I wouldn't get it if I got this. Okay, we'll just get another shot. Well, I got it after I got the second shot too. Yeah, but and this is how they flipped it. Well, you got it, but you didn't get it as bad as you would have. You don't know that. You don't know that. You can't say something like that. It's just weird when you go online and check the CDC Twitter, which I do often. They're still pushing these vaccines on children. Am I missing something? Is it me? I mean, maybe I am. I'm not right about everything. Just most stuff. I mean, what's going on? Like, why is the CDC, which is a really big, government organization, pushing, still pushing these vaccines when there have been evidence that maybe it's not such a great idea. Maybe you should wait. Maybe we should try and figure this out, a little bit before we start pushing it on children. Hey, you know something? You want to push sexuality on them? Do that too. Then do that and the COVID thing. It's crazy what's going on. Let's see here. Peter Griffin. Hi, Peter. I didn't see that. Still see people wearing masks while outside in Boston. Yeah. See it all the time too. E Blues says hi. Don't know what your name is. I wish I didn't know how to say it, but hello. Yeah, guys, like I said, pretty much what we're doing. And if you're listening on another platform, come on over real quick to YouTube and search Renegade Radio Boston. Like I said, it's not Renegade Radio because Little Johnny's not here right now. It's just me. I think I'm gonna come up with like a sub channel or something. I know our buddy was helping me last night. I was talking last night, and I hate always asking John for help, but John's gonna try to figure that out too. To see if I could have like just a sub channel or something. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I think that'll be cool until we can get this rolling again. And Blues name is Ellen. Hi, Ellen. Thanks for listening. And I've seen you before. So I don't mean thanks for listening. I'm like, yeah, you're just checking us out. I know. I just mean welcome back. Hi. Then you saw the other day. But yeah, it's one of those things. I actually, something, since we're just shooting the S here. I actually found one or two places up here looking for a single show that I think is, could be a good fit. So, keep your fingers crossed. If you believe in praying for that stuff, I'd appreciate it because that would be nice. Because I'm telling you, getting back on the air. I did a radio show, I think it was about a month ago. There's a guy, a really nice guy. His name is Gary Levitt. He does impressions. He does a show on WATD. My brain goes blank sometimes. Here in Massachusetts, really funny guy. It's a nice show, good show. And he had me on a few weeks ago. So I hadn't been on terrestrial in a while. It was so much fun to be back. And I'm thinking to myself, oh God, do I miss this? Even though, the best part about terrestrial radio, like we were lucky at MEX, right? MEX, we were in Marina Bay in Quincy, Massachusetts. Now, for you that don't know, and before they built those horrible apartments there, our studio was on the third floor, over like right on the ocean. It was just a boardwalk and in the ocean, and across the ocean it was a skyline of Boston. The boardwalk itself had 3 or 4 bars on it, and it had restaurants, and it was just cool. Very classy, very nice, amazing view. Really, we got spoiled. Equipment, all right. Equipment was a little bit old. not gonna lie, but not horribly old. Hell, I'm still using half of it. But it was what it was. Then when you go to I went and did this show. I remember what it was like at the other stations I worked at, because sometimes, man, it's a closet with a microphone. Like because it's radio. Who cares? You know what I mean? That doesn't have to be nice stuff. You don't have to be having a nice view or whatever. Like radio is a cheap industry. and they know that. So, you're lucky you got a chair that doesn't squeak all that much. Just don't move around a lot when you're talking, because everybody out there will hear it. And it was funny, it was funny. But when we were at Marina Bay, it was such a phenomenal place. And like I said, 3rd floor, beautiful views out of every window. For the 4th of July, we would go there because, oh God, I was so, this was the first time ever something like cool like this happened, for me at least. Like we got to stay in the studio, and we had those huge bay windows, right? So you got the air conditioning pumping, you got the radio behind you because it's the radio station, and you're watching the fireworks from there. Just friggin', and then you could see right down the coast basically. So there were like other towns doing them. Just amazing. It was absolutely just amazing. And then I went back a few weeks ago to a closet where 2 men were standing almost 1.5 feet away from each other, talking, and like having to lean into these microphones, being a little too close. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I still miss this industry. God love it. It is a lot of fun. Let's see. Peter Griffin says, my brother showed me Renegade a year before COVID and been listening since. Glad to finally catch this live. Hope you thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. And thank your brother, whoever he is. He has great taste in radio. Let's see. He was 508 that texted in. I remember 508. I don't know. You know something? I know we had a few, but I know that there was one consistent 508, if that's him. So if that is, tell him Bright says hi. Tell him Bright the God says hi. And that's how you know how if it's the 508 I'm talking about. Night Patrol says, you remember when the boat sank? Oof. Yeah, I do. You know, we actually got kind of, I don't want to say yelled at because we didn't really listen all that much. Like, meaning they could yell at you and we knew what to do. You know, you put your head down and you go, yeah, I just wasn't thinking. I don't understand. Yeah, I never do that again. Live and learn, that type of stuff. Because what had happened was our show started at 6. So we always get in there. Well, at the end there, we were getting in. Let's see, the show actually started at 6. So we'd get on the air at 6:04 because they would play news and then the opening. We'd walk in the door at 6:02. Like the opening's playing when we walk through the door. Sometimes that was funny. But in the beginning, we tried to get there at 5:30. Just so grab a cup of coffee, talk for a minute. And we went in and we looked out of those beautiful bay windows. The sun was just coming up. And we had noticed that there was a boat because there were a whole bunch of boats, right out there. There was a dock that they were all at. I don't know what you call it, a marina type thing, I guess. And we noticed one was kind of lower than it should be. I'm like, that's odd looking. It just looked odd. It just didn't, like, the other boats were higher and it just, I don't know, it just had a weird look to it. So we go on the air and I used to smoke in there, which I'll admit to now because what are you going to do? Fire me. I used to smoke in the studio. So what happened is there was that window open. So I would just lean out the window and I would smoke my cigarette instead of running downstairs. I only did that for the last few months, but because before that, I used to do that thing where I'd run downstairs and smoke 2 cigarettes. I don't know how I did it in 4.5 minutes and be back up on time. Every time. Then I realized I didn't have to do that. So I could just lean out the window. And I'm leaning out the window and I see that the boat's a little bit lower than it was before. So I asked John, hey, John, does that look lower? Yeah. So we get on the air and we're talking. And the next break, I look and it's a lot lower. Like all of a sudden, the tip of the boat is like where the waves are. Like before it was kind of up above it like normally. But now it's like almost kind of equal to the waves breaking. I'm thinking that's really low. And we talked about it on the air. And as we went to the next break, which is about 20 minutes later, the entire bottom of the boat sunk and just the tip of the boat was kind of sticking up. So we would just report it on it and we would say, hey, right now it's 3/4 sunk and blah, 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 blah. So finally somebody called in and said, hey, assholes, did anybody call anybody? And I know this sounds ridiculous and I do feel bad about it, but that didn't even enter my mind. It just didn't enter my mind. I was more into reporting about how much it was going to sink. Then the one guy says, there could have been people sleeping on there or, yeah, I guess you're right. Well, they would have woke up when they felt the water. You know what I mean? Like if, I'm sure if you're sleeping and or they pee themselves, depends on how warm the water was that day. It was summer. But yeah, I do feel bad about that. And the caller said, look out the window. He said, do you see a boat there? I'm like, oh, yeah, we do. And he's like, I got in this or whatever it was with a red something. I said, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I called them for you. So technically we helped. We might not have done the calling ourselves, but we did help. And I'll take any credit for that. I mean, actually, I don't need credit for it. We're heroes. We understand that. We don't need people patting us on the back. We do that enough ourselves. Let's see. Yeah, that Marina Bay was, it's insane what a great area it was. Man, I'd love to go back. They do have a station over there. I don't think I'd fit. Well, they have a few actually. It's one company, but there's like 5 or 6 stations within it. Beautiful studios. And it's actually in the last place that we had a studio for this show. But I think it's like an Irish station, an AM Irish station, which I'm Irish, but I want to talk about Irish stuff. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to talk about? Boiled potatoes and bad music? Hey, yeah, I mean, hey, St. Patrick's Day is only 10 months away, everybody. Yeah, everybody getting ready for St. Patrick's Day? I mean, and that music's horrible. My mom loved Irish music, but only on St. Patrick's Day. Okay, like she really got into it on St. Patrick's Day. She liked it throughout the year, but she wouldn't bother you with it. But on St. Patrick's Day, from the time you woke up to the time you went to bed, this horrible, horrible music that just there's nothing catchy about it. There's nothing fun about it. It just stinks. And once again, it's just like our food. Our food sucks too. They boil the taste out of everything. And boiling's weird. I don't trust boiling if it's meat. Like when you talk about boiled meat, you're crazy. That's disgusting. That's nausea. Throw that S in fire, man. Burn that S up. Don't throw that. Don't have it boiling in water. That's disgusting. What's wrong with people? And then they'll say, well, the Irish, they like, to eat potatoes. Well, that's only because there was a famine. It was the only thing that you could eat. It's not like there was a choice between, potatoes or pizza and they chose the potatoes. You know what I mean? Like, yay, which it's kind of like in the slave days here in America. People always say, like, why do poor people eat what they eat? Because, like, when you think about if you've ever gone to a butcher or a deli, that's some nauseating crap, man. That's gross. Like, if there's body parts in a window, like, you know what I mean? Like, and not like, I don't mind if they want to try to pretend that massive boar's head chicken breast thing is just one side of a big ass chicken breast. So they had two of these. How big is this chicken, dude? Because that thing has to weigh about 40 pounds. So it had two 40-pound chest or pecs, whatever. I mean, that's crazy. But anyway, you look and there's like tongue, like, no joke, there's tongue. Oh, there's a little bumps on it. And the only reason I know that is because I don't know why I do this. I was looking through the window. I think I was trying to look and see if they had my stupid chicken breast. And I saw the tongue with the little bumps all over it. And I was like, oh. And then you look next to it and it has head cheese, which just looks like Jello with little bananas floating in it, but they're not bananas. It's just disgusting, man. I just can't, man. I can't go to butcher shops and deal with that. And then on top of that, once again, and I know I've said this before, but then you choose to wear a white jacket. You're going to walk around the aisles of Stop and Shop with a bloody jacket on like a serial killer. What's wrong with you people? Disgusting. I can't stand that. Anyway, getting back to the chat room real quick. Let's see. It says MEX is now playing oldies. Yeah, I know. The station, the ATD thing, it's in the same studio building rather as the new MEX. So I did stop by. It's not the same. I knew it wouldn't be the same. It's not the same studio, not the same people, not any of that good stuff. But I did have to stop by, and you know, it's okay for what it is. I mean, it's an oldie station. People like that music, so I wish them nothing but the best. John says my dad listens to MEX now. Yeah, I know a lot of people do. I mean, it's not what I can. Well, I guess it's no. I consider oldies to be 50s music, right? Because when I was growing up in the 80s, that's what you say 50s, 60s was oldies. Now oldies is the early 2000s, late 90s. So Nirvana, Metallica, somehow are now oldies, I think. So they don't play the oldies; they play the real oldies. They play the oldies like the doo-wop era type of stuff. And yeah, that's I'll give it a plug. 1510 WMEX. You know, I know Jimmy J's still on there. He's all over there. I don't think they could pull that guy out of that station. Frank says, have you thought about going the podcast route rather than terrestrial? Yeah, you know, I did. You know, it's funny. I was talking with some people last night, listeners of the show, that was saying, why didn't we ever do that? I think it's called Pantheon thing where you charge and I'll take the blame for that one. John and I had talked about it several times and you know, I was totally against it. It was stupid to be totally against it, but my rationale was I appreciate the fact that you guys listen to the show. I don't think that you should have to pay for the show. You know what I mean? Like that was just, and it's not a holier than thou thing or a cheap price swell type of thing, but it's just the mentality. I think it should be self-sustaining somehow. Like, you know what I mean? There has to be, you know, whatever. I mean, I didn't know how. I thought we were really leaning on our agent to get us something relatively quickly too. So I thought we could just tough it out until whenever. But yeah, I just never believed in charging for that stuff. And if I go the podcast route, yeah, you know something, I'm not Joe Rogan. You know what I mean? I'm not somebody like, you have to have like a name going in. Like you have to be, you know, I don't know, Lars Ulrich from Metallica, James Hetfield, something like that, and then do a podcast. Then you're going to get your 20, 30,000. It's kind of like my, I was listening to somebody talk to the other day, I guess, what's his name? The guy who played George from Seinfeld is doing a podcast. He got like 1 million downloads the first day. Well, of course he did, because he's George from Seinfeld. You know, I mean, you know, other people, it's tough. It's just a tough route. And honestly, here's my thing about terrestrial radio, and this is why I believe that there is still like the opportunity is being squandered. Because here's the deal: they gave it to lazy people to run a while ago. And lazy people would say, well, that works. Well, just keep it. Never improving on anything. Keep it. Now, it's not working because it's 30 years later and that same thing doesn't work. So instead of fighting back, they're giving up. You know what I mean? And they went to voice track. And, well, you know, we'll cut DJs. We don't need DJs. Well, you do. You know why? Because they thought people wanted the music and the DJs pissed them off. Well, here's the deal. I could get the music without the DJs on YouTube. I could get the DJs without the music on my iPod. I could get that anywhere. The reason some people do listen, believe it or not, are for the DJs. That's why talk radio is so successful and certain personalities on the radio are so successful. It's not because I want to hear Stone Temple Pilots for the 15th time. It's for some reason I identify with this DJ or whoever's talking and like, they might tell stories that I agree with or I can reminisce with but they didn't realize that. They thought, oh, people just want the music. And that's not the case. So what they did was they kind of gave up and they say like, well, look at Joe Rogan. Look at Joe. He's on the internet. Look at Joe Rogan would be that successful on terrestrial too. But terrestrial wasn't smart enough to grab him. That's all. That's all. That's as simple as it is. It's not the device you're listening on. It's what you're listening to that's a draw people to it. So you say something people agree with. You say something people disagree with. You say something interesting. People are going to find you and they're gonna listen and they're gonna find and that's that. It doesn't matter if they have to go online to do it or on the radio. Personally, I like terrestrial. I think there's so much opportunity left. Because now there's nothing, man. There's like you're going against almost nothing. Now people are asking me too. Let's see. Wonder what Bill would be saying about Biden now. That's true. A lot of people asking what happened to Bill from Braintree. Haven't heard him in a very long time. Yeah, I haven't heard from Bill. Probably, I think it was right in the middle of COVID. He checked in at one point. I did hear him on. I think it was it was Cooner. Yeah, because I don't listen to Howie Carr, so that would have been impossible. It was Cooner, and he was doing his typical Bill thing. He's just still crazy as all hell and yelling and screaming and laughing at his own jokes. And he's all right. Bill. I know we'll get Bill back if that's what you guys want. I'll bring Bill back. I know. It's funny. Bill is almost one of those people that it makes you laugh because he's so annoying. Like it has to be an act. This has to be an act. I'll tell you off the air, he's not a bad guy. He really isn't. And John hated his guts. Still does for some reason. Like he really doesn't like him. I always liked Bill. I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was, I don't know. Never bothered me. I don't mind the arguing. I think it's kind of fun. It just I kind of get that he's doing a routine. Although he does, off the air, he does believe what he's saying, but not as much. It's definitely amped up, but he does have those stupid views. So don't think he's an act. He certainly isn't. No, Frank, I don't talk to Alex anymore. I don't talk to many of those people. Been a while. Let's see. I remember we had him on as a guest host. Yeah, we did. Yeah, like I said, it's been a while. Like I haven't seen Quinlan. Tommy Quinlan, good guy. But this is what happens, like in this stupid industry. Like when I guess when I first started, I was in Jersey, and then I went down to DC, and DC was a great time, and it was just good people and whatever. And radio happens, you get other jobs or stations close, and you got to move on. And then I moved back to the New York area, and then up here. And it's funny because I don't see any of those people. And it's sad because like on Cluster F radio, we were tight, man. We were tight click. We did everything together. Drank, worked. Well, we didn't work out back then. So drank, ate, did the show, smoked weed, repeat just every day, then we were on a Dr. K show, same thing. Huh, then on Renegade, same thing. Weird. I think there's something. Anyway, but yeah, it was, I don't see those people though, which sucks, because you do become very, very close, especially because when you're doing a show, especially like Renegade was fun because Renegade was always doing something extra. Like there was always a live event that we were planning for or something we were just doing a pop-up at or you know what I mean? Like, so Renegade was great like that. So that I miss those guys. So yeah, even Alex the News Guy, believe it or not, I heard one of the best of clips. I was going through something last night and I heard him on it, and it's just that was genuinely funny. He was an all right kid. So but the next level will just be just as fun, just different people, I guess. Not all. I mean, Johnny's coming, so don't worry, it'll be fun. Don't worry, just trust me. Let's see. I don't know. There's so much to do. I said I'm looking at the time here. I'm already almost one. Yeah, what I'm thinking is just so the people who are just joining now, just so you know what we're doing right now, we're just kind of BSing. On Monday, we'll try to get more of, I don't mean a format, because who cares about a format, but I just mean instead of me just coming on rambling about absolutely nothing with no topics in mind, we'll like make sure that there are certain things we want to hit on and whatever. And we'll do at least an hour a day, Monday through Friday, until we get back on terrestrial. And then we'll move it over there and we'll still probably do something online here or somewhere else, but we'll let you know. I don't know if you guys know, I know my buddy John from Braintree is going to be helping me either start another page for this, because I don't know if I want to keep going under Renegade when John's not here, but another page for this, and then we gotta fix the music because I know it sounds very. I can't play sound effects or music behind me for some reason, so we're gonna fix that for Monday. So today's Thursday, though. Don't worry. Tomorrow we keep coming on. I'm gonna say around the same time. I'm gonna say in between 10 and 11. So what you got to do is, if you're listening on a different platform, come over to YouTube, search Renegade Radio Boston, and just hit the subscribe thing, because then when I go live, you'll get like a little email saying, Bryce here. So go do that for me at Renegade Radio Boston on YouTube. And I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. So I hope, thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate it. Look, we're getting bigger numbers already, everybody. Don't forget to promote that we're back if you can. I'd appreciate that. Well, I'm back. I keep saying we. Just, I miss John. But, just I'm back for, from the not doing stuff. I don't know what to say. But no, but, I mean, it's so weird. I keep looking over there like, what, John? You got something to say over there, brother? I miss my buddy. But like I said, eventually, hopefully, that show will be back as well. But until then, we'll be talking about what's going on in the world and all that stuff. And we'll try to keep it nice and current. So thank you, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out and listening. And whether it's live or during the repeats, once again, I really appreciate you guys. Love you. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.